Hello and welcome to your November labor market update for the 26 counties of Northwest Minnesota. My name is Cameron Mocht and I am the Regional Analysis and Outreach Manager for the Minnesota Department of Employment and Economic Development. Over the next couple minutes, I will cover the latest labor market updates and provide some insights into the changing economic conditions across the region. If you have any questions, please feel free to check our website and reach out to our team for more information. The big news is that unemployment rates continued to drop across the state, with the state rate falling to 4.6% in October 2020 on a seasonally adjusted basis. That is well below the U.S. rate of 6.9%. However, it is important to note that the drop was due to the second consecutive monthly drop in the state's labor force participation rate. The labor force participation rate declined to 67.4% in October from 70.2% in February of 2020, prior to the pandemic's effects. The state is now down more than 100,000 workers over the past 2 months, with many choosing to drop out not because they are discouraged or because there aren't jobs available, but because they are staying home to care for children or sick relatives or to wait until there is less uncertainty in the labor market due to the coronavirus. Though this trend has been much less prevalent in Northwest, the region is still down about 3,900 workers over the past 2 months. At the regional level, Northwest Minnesota's unemployment rate dipped to 3.2%, not seasonally adjusted. That is down from a peak of 8.3% in April and has remained below the state rate the entire time. It is also below the region's rate in March, prior to the pandemic, when it was 4.9%. However, it is up in comparison to last October, when the region was still seeing historically low unemployment rates. The region now has about 9,500 unemployed job seekers, down from a peak of about 25,000 in April. That is also up in comparison to last October, when the region had about 8,300 unemployed workers. Despite seeing the biggest monthly decline, Mahnomen County still reported the highest unemployment rate in the state at 6.2%. Northwest was also home to 2 counties that were tied for the second lowest rate in the state, where both Stevens and Traverse County reported 2% rates in October. Half of the counties in the region had an unemployment rate of 3% or less, despite the pandemic. All but 1 county in the region had a lower unemployment rate in October than the previous month, as well as in comparison to March, though much of that is due to the region's seasonal economy. Instead, 19 of the 26 counties have a higher rate now compared to 1 year ago, with the smallest and most rural counties seeing year-over-year declines. Like the state, 22 of the counties in the region have a smaller labor force now than last year. Not surprisingly, the biggest declines were in the biggest counties, while the smaller, more rural counties seem to be less impacted by the coronavirus overall. The number of continued claims for unemployment insurance, which represents people who are still receiving benefits each week, has continued dropping. Statewide, there were less than 90,000 continued claims, the lowest level since prior to the pandemic. However, not reflected in these numbers are the tens of thousands of self-employed people who are still receiving PUA or Pandemic Unemployment Assistance benefits, and the 1,000 of workers who are now transitioning to the Pandemic Extended Unemployment Compensation Program, or PEUC. In Northwest, there were just under 7,000 continued claims in the week ending November 7th, which is also lower than prior to the pandemic. Northwest Minnesota saw a much faster surge in claims, but since then has experienced a faster recovery than all other regions of the state. This recession has impacted different demographic groups than in past recessions, with females being much more impacted than males. Prior to the pandemic, females accounted for less than 20% of claims, but were filing more than half of the continued claims in the region until the end of October, when the majority shifted back toward males. Economic disruptions have also hit workers of other races in disproportionate levels. Whites still accounted for 83.5% of continued claims going into November, but they also make up more than 93.5% of the region's workforce. The region's American Indian population has been disproportionately impacted, still accounting for 6.2% of claims compared to just 3.1% of the labor force. Different industries have also been disrupted in different ways. As the winter season starts to set in, claims have started climbing in construction. This industry now has the largest number of continued claims in the region. Ironically, healthcare and social assistance has been hit hard during the pandemic and is seeing lingering activity despite rising demand. Leisure and hospitality, and specifically accommodation and food services, have been most impacted overall, with an immediate spike in March and April and ongoing challenges through the summer. Manufacturing has seen several spikes in the region, with furlough activity ramping up and down. Retail trade was hit initially, but has mostly recovered and actually is up slightly compared to last year, much of that due to online shopping and changing consumer preferences. Finally, arts, entertainment, and recreation spiked from April through June as many casinos closed and then reopened at different times. As major employers in the region, that led to high unemployment rates throughout the summer. Second quarter employment data was released in October, showing the extent of the pandemic recession damage. In sum, Northwest employers cut 13,800 jobs, a 6.4% decline from first quarter to second quarter. That was less severe than the statewide drop, but still significant. And Northwest has a very seasonal economy, where quarter two usually sees big job gains. Over the past 10 years, Northwest averaged a gain of nearly 13,000 additional jobs from quarter one to quarter two. Had the region grown as expected, that means the region is actually down nearly 27,000 jobs, an 11.7% decline. Minnesota saw a 10.3% decline from first quarter to second quarter, with the most notable losses in leisure and hospitality, as well as healthcare, retail trade, other services, and educational services. Northwest saw similar but less severe declines in the same industries, with massive drops in leisure and hospitality, other services, manufacturing, healthcare, and an even bigger drop in educational services. However, the region also saw better results in construction and agriculture, and an encouraging recovery in administrative support and waste management services, which includes temporary staffing agencies. Despite the job losses, there is still a lot of hiring demand in Northwest Minnesota. There were 12,180 job vacancies posted in the region in the second quarter of 2020, which was also released in October. That was down only about 1,000 postings compared to last year, a much smaller decline than other regions experienced. The largest number of vacancies are in retail trade, healthcare, and accommodation and food services, suggesting there may be some difficulties drawing workers back in with this level of uncertainty. The jobs in highest demand include registered nurses, nursing assistants, and personal care aides, truck drivers, software developers, customer service reps, retail sales workers, and production occupations. CareerForceMN.com has been sharing this information with job seekers through a series of press releases, blogs, and a dedicated top 30 occupations in demand page on the website. This should be helpful for workers who are waiting on UI or are moving from a temporary layoff to permanent. They can find jobs in demand using the same skills they had from their old jobs, but in a new setting. This could include using customer service skills in healthcare instead of food serving. For more information, please reach out to DEED's Regional Analysis and Outreach Unit. Go to www.mn.gov/deed/data for additional details on the state of the economy. Thanks.